Hi everyone, welcome to the second part of this video from the 2025 Johanna Basford weekly planner. This is the first week, the 30th of December week, and we have this scene which I started in yesterday's video, and we are going to carry on. I haven't put my pencils away from yesterday. I'm just going to slide them out of my way. I have written down the ones I've used ready for my list, but there we go. So my first job is to do the windows, and I did mention yesterday that I would do them in a sort of lemon or muted colour. So this is the swatch chart for the 120 Castle Arts pencils that I'm using, the soft touch, and I think this lemon yellow light looks quite a cold yellow and it's not too vibrant, so it just seems to meet the brief perfectly. So that is where I'm going to start. I'm actually going to come in a tad closer. I do want to keep the whole of the buildings in the shot, so I can't come in massively close. But here is the lemon yellow light. Oops, there you are. I'm just going to put on my specs. I've got these specs and they have a little light. Oh, which there it is. You can see it on the front. I'm not going to use the light, but I'm just going to use the specs so I can see, because it's that time of the day when my eyes start to play up a little bit, but I find the specs can help me a lot, so I can actually see. But I have to wear them over the top of my normal ones. I just tried them without, and I had to put my head about a centimetre away from the page. I wasn't convinced they were doing very much, but they certainly are improving what I can see on top of my regular specs, which is handy. I'm just going to sharpen this. The only thing is, when I look up to my pencils, it's all blur. So it's a bit of a well, I guess any of you who've got reading glasses will know the problems. I mean, my regular glasses are very focal, so they focus on close, middle and far distance, which is good. But I don't know if these lines are supposed to be like a little blind on the window, or a little overhang, but I'm just going to colour it all in the yellow because I think it just looks like the window. There we go. Now, I was pondering the colour of the buildings yesterday, as you may have, if you were tuned in, you would have heard. I think we're there. But I've just made a decision that I'm going to do them in a purple. Now, I realise we've put a little bit of mauve into our snow, and I think that will work really well having purpley buildings. It might even look like that's reflecting into the snow, although the snow is facing the wrong way, but you know, we can pretend otherwise. So, but I don't want it to be a really, really dark violet like the mulberry or the ultramarine violet, something a little bit lighter, and I'm thinking the cornflower blue might be a rather nice shade to use. So I'm just going to try and find it. Always a problem. There it is. Now, although I said purple, this cornflower blue, you can see by the tip, it isn't blue. It is a purpley violetty shade, and I think it's really pretty. So I'm actually going to use this for all of the buildings, all of the wall parts of the building. So just giving it a sharpen. I'm just going to start at one end and work across. Now, I'm not going to do any sort of shadowing effects yet, so I'm just going to get a layer of this lovely colour down across all of the buildings, and then I will grab something to do a bit of shading with, whatever that might be, when I decide something a bit darker. There are lots of different colours you can use for shadows. Some people choose to use a black always. Some people choose to use a more browny shade. I was talking to someone once and she said one of her students, who was an art teacher, always used a blackberry, I think is the colour, a Derwent colour soft blackberry colour for shadows. So this is all very interesting. So but I tend to change what I use depending on my base colour. So if I'm doing a very pale pink, for example, I would never do a black shadow because it's just so dark and harsh and, you know, very difficult to apply lightly enough to create a shadow without it looking like a big black splodge or dirt or something like that. So I choose carefully. Sometimes I will just use a darker tone of the colour that I'm using. Sometimes I will use a slightly different colour. If I'm using a cold colour, I will tend to use like maybe a Payne's grey. And if I'm using a warm colour, then I might use a dark sepia, which is more of a browny colour. So as I say, it can very much depend on what I'm colouring and what colours I'm using. I guess that's a roof really, but it's not now. It's a bit of a chimney pot. Yeah, so it, as I say, it can vary. Now I realise we've got texture in these buildings. We've got places that would be shadowed, we've got bricks and stones, we've got sort of lines and dips and all sorts of different things going on. So I'm going to acknowledge those later. I'm not completely ignoring them, I'm just getting a layer of colour down. So you can see, although I said it's purpley, it's very sort of bluey purpley. I really like the colour. I hope you do too. But if you don't, then you can pick your own colder colour. You could use more of a violet, like the heather purple would work quite well, I think. Yeah, it's more of a bluey purple. Purple lake could work. Don't go as to mauve though, because we've already used that. You know. Now the turrets. Do we? Yeah, I think we do all this in the same colour. And then if I'm going to find a colour to do some of the accents, I'll put it on top, as I will on all the rest really. It's just about getting our basics down so that we can plan around it after and see what we've got going. Now, you know, this tower, for example, it's round. You can see that probably, and like this one is. But by colouring it in flat colouring, we're not helping to fool the eye that it's rounded, but we can use some techniques to do that, but we'll apply them later. Ooh, something's clicking in here. Just something in the room. It's quite odd. It's like something's moving, you know, like if it's getting hot or cold, things click. I don't know if you do know. Ah, the boiler's just come on, that'll be what it is. In our houses in our street are very clicky. When it's sunny, they click a lot, where they there's a lot of wood, it moves in the sun. Back up here, I was talking to my friend this morning actually about sun. She was saying how she used to sunbathe loads, but you know, we did. She was saying, you know, she used to, her and her, you know, if you told anyone you were going to the beach, they would go, oh, don't forget your coconut oil, you know, things like that. I didn't used to oil, but I'm a little bit younger. Well, I'm 10 years younger than her, so I think things had started to change a little bit by the time I was at the age of doing that sort of thing, because obviously as children my mum would try and keep us covered up, not because of any health reasons, but because of a burn, stop us burning. But we were both agreeing on how much we absolutely loathe suntan lotion, how it leaves you covered in horrible, thick, heavy, sticky goop, which we don't like. But we realise why it's important to use it. So we were both agreeing that what we tend to do is wear a huge hat, cover up, and go out really early when the sun is at its coolest, lowest, and also go head for the shade, you know. But we both agreed that if we were out all day for some reason or another, we would definitely wear it. You know, we just try to do what we can to avoid it because we really don't like it. And I know some people wear makeup that has a factor sun protection factor in, and I wondered whether that might be a better option because it might be a little bit lighter. I mean, I don't wear makeup, but I thought maybe it would be better somehow than the sort of thick sticky goop that we have to put on. And it's even when I'm applying it to someone else, who are out and about, and I suddenly notice that husband or children have missed a patch or forgotten to put it on, and I can see they're burning, so I put it on them. Then it's on your hand and it's like, ooh, it's all goopy and horrible. Maybe I just don't buy the right ones. I don't know. Maybe there are ones that aren't so horrible, but all the ones I've ever used are just so icky. Ugh. It's funny how we're talking about the sun and summer when it's December, but anyway, we were just happened to be chattering about skin, I think, because she was saying how her skin has been damaged by the sun. I think her skin is pretty good. I didn't get a chance to tell her because she was chattering, which was lovely. I don't give her many chances to chatter because I talk so much, so I didn't want to interrupt her once I'd given her a chance. Now, I want to do two things now. I want to add some shadow on the edges to give some sense of light and shade and roundness to the towers and things like that. But I also want to pick out some of the things and make them darker. My shadowing, I'm just looking at what the closest colour is. I think I could, excuse me, potentially, I was looking at the heather purple. I'm not sure it's quite going to work. It might not be quite dark enough. The mulberry's too dark. Indigo, we've used that. Actually, that might work. I'm going to try it. The indigo light, here he is. And what I'm going to do with this is do the shadow. So we'll start here. Look, and we've got this roof shadow which actually been drawn in. So we're just going to try and do that, darken that bit a bit. And underneath this roof here, like that, under the windowsill. And then here, just trying to work out what this is overlapping here, so there'll be some shadow here. That's right, here and here. Here under the window. I realise we haven't done the window frame on this one. I think, is it the only one? Have a think about that. Anyway, and under here, look. Also, the roof overhangs, I assume. Well, it does now. Now, this chimney needs to be rounder, so I'm going to put some shadow on the edge like that, and on this edge, and on the edges of the chimney, underneath there, and also, again, edges, just to emphasise that sort of rounded look to that particular item. Because most of our turrets are actually not round, but this one I think would have some shadow under our castellation, or behind our castellation, sorry. We have a building in our town that has a, it's not a, the building itself doesn't have the castellation, there's a wall outside, it's called the castle. It has this wall with castellation. It is actually, the house is pretty big, but it's a block of flats. You know, they've been converted into apartments. I assume it was once a big house, but I don't really know. And there's also like a coach house out the back which has been converted into a home as well. Now this blue is actually a lot darker than I would normally use for doing shadows with, but I'm quite liking this sort of shadowy effect that it is giving. It's a bit different to what I normally do, as I said. I quite like it. Okay, go down here. But yeah, we don't live in a posh town or anything. It just happens to have this one house that's that thinks it's better than it is. It's got ideas above its station. It's actually very near to another house which is called Spring Cottage, I think, and I do wonder if there is a spring, maybe, I know there is a spring that comes up further along the road, but I wonder whether it also, I think it might be called well or something, you know, whether there's a well in the house, or whether there used to be, you know. I mean, it's not the people don't have a need anymore. You know, wouldn't really want to trust water that just come out of a well or a spring, would you, without having it tested? Want to make sure that it was safe. I sure would anyway. I mean, I know the water we drink out of our taps has been treated, and we sort of have to trust it. I know some people sometimes discover that it isn't as clean as they thought, but you know, if we don't trust that, we would just be paranoid all the time, worrying, wouldn't we? Right, now I feel that's given our picture a bit more depth. I just seen another bit that needs doing, but we need to emphasise some of the areas, and I'm wondering whether to just try taking my cornflower blue again and just double colouring, if you know what I mean, adding an extra layer. So here it is, cornflower blue. I'm just going to give it a go and see if it works. So the windowsill, for example, I'm just going to colour it in with another layer, make it a bit darker. With these bricks, just go around the edges a bit. Some extra. I think this is working. I couldn't really find another colour that I thought would work, so I thought if I just use this one again. Yeah, I'm very happy with that. Now this frame I'm going to do in this, but sort of layer it up so that it's darker. There we go. I'm also going to do this and that's darker. We will do the roofs a different colour. What we're going to do here, should we do these sections a bit different? Hard to know, isn't it, sometimes, what the intention was, but I think that's okay. We'll do each chimney stone, go around the edge, and sort of this bit a bit darker. There we go. I think I quite like to just do this bit darker in here. I think it will help with that, trying to make it look a bit more three-dimensional anyway. Layering up on our windowsills. And this bit. We have some more bricks down here. And these. There we go. Now we could I didn't do the chimneys. Just going to go back and use a little bit of the indigo light on this chimney here. Just on those edges, we need to emphasise that curve, which I didn't do. There we go. Now back to the cornflower blue. And these are brights. I don't really know what these are supposed to be, but it doesn't matter, does it? I think up here, I might colour this bit. And this bit. And here, and maybe these smaller ones here. Right. Oh, this chimney. Back to my indigo light, just to do those edges. Right, now the roofs. It's very tempting to go with grey, like we had down here. And I need something quite dark because we need some snow. I also need something that I know is going to work with a white pen on top of it. Snow. I think doing grey will work quite well because it will reflect the colour down at the bottom. You know, it will tie up is what I mean, not reflect. That's not quite the right word. I'm going to use the Paynes grey. Here he is. And start down here. Now I'm not going to press really hard. I want a nice layer that I can see, because once I put white pen on here it needs to show up, so I don't want too much white paper. I think what I'm going to do is press quite hard, and then I want to do some shadow there. I'll do that in black so it will show up. So I quite often fade that up here, but I'm not. I'm going to leave it solid and then put some snow on the top. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Hang on a minute. Oh, that was quite explosive. Luckily I stopped the camera. Stopped the recording. You would have fallen out of your chair onto the floor. Right. Now the thing about doing snow on this picture is that I don't really want to do a background. And that means that it's got to stand out from the background. Even though it's quite tempting to sort of put it right on the top. But I'm thinking down, maybe this bottom bit of the roof could catch some snow, you know. It might be standing out a bit. I'll have a think as I colour and work out where, because like the top of that windowsill, that's not the right word, window frame, the top of these windowsills maybe, you know, that sort of thing. There might be snow there, so maybe not just thinking so much of it being on the top of the roofs, sort of around and about. Oh, my sons were a bit snotty last few days. I don't know whether I've got something or whether it's just a bit of a sneeze and that's it. Hopefully, even if it's not, I'll be fine. Now this chimney I think I want to do in this colour, so I'm going to grab my cornflower blue and just do it. I don't know why I didn't do it really. I guess I just forgot. There we go. Now we can do the roof. Now if you want to see a bit more snow colouring tutorial, I've got, I did one, did a book flip through and did a bit of a, just sharpening my pencil, a snow demo in that as well. It's very similar to this actually, so maybe it wouldn't be worth showing you, worth telling you to look, because it's very similar, but it's just a new technique that I'm trying this year. So leaving a little gap, it just, I don't know, I'm leaving the little gap is something I've done a lot before, but doing this sort of purpley colour is different, and I think because the building is this colour as well, it just sort of works well, and it sort of looks dark, like it's dark. Snow in the dark looks a really different colour to snow in the day. Oh, it would be nice to have some snow. I do like a snowy day. Beautiful. I just, when snow is falling fast, I just find it absolutely mesmerising. I just want to watch it, and it's so relaxing. Standing by the window watching it can be a bit cold, but I don't know. There's something about when it's falling slowly and it's not windy, or there's just a little tiny breeze, it just looks so delicate and beautiful, and it's just lovely watching it. If it's like blizzardy heavy, I still find that quite fascinating, like I do when it's raining really hard. I don't know why I turn into a child and I just want to watch the rain or the snow. Yeah, when it's blizzardy heavy, it's not quite so relaxing in the same way, because it doesn't fall quite so softly, but it's still so beautiful. So I'm sort of hoping we might get some weather like that, but I know some people don't like it, and it's inconvenient for travelling and everything else, and it's, you know, a nuisance. No one around here has snow tyres or snow chains or anything like that, so you know it's not the best, but it's just so lovely. Right, black. Where's the black? Here we go. Right, we're going to go through each roof with the black and do a few twiddly bits, because that's the official word. So on this one, I'm just going to put a bit of shadow in there. I'm not going to do anything on that one. This one, shadow here, around under there, nothing on that one. This one, I might just go around the edge gently of each tile. Ooh, just to acknowledge that, you know, I've noticed they're there type thing, you know. It is making this bit of roof look quite a lot darker, but I'm okay with that. I'm really surprised I haven't run my white pens out yet. I've been doing so much sort of snow colouring that I'd have thought that I would have used them up, but not yet. But I tend to, in here I've got two of the same size that I use interchangeably, so probably just both run out at the same time. But that's okay. I'm very lucky to have a backup pencil. Now up here, I think I'll just do this bit darker here. Here I want to do a bit in there, just to give it some depth. And here by the side of this tower. Underneath here. And of course down here. Got some lines drawn in to remind us. I'll just do that bit darker. I don't think I'm going to do every tile on this one, there's too many. You can if you want. I think it's just going to draw the eye too much. So I'm going to leave it. And I'm going to move on and do some snow. I'm just wanted to get on with the snow, that's what it is. So here we are, Sakura 8. I think I used a 10 if I can find it. There it is, 10. They come in packs with a 5, 8 and 10, or you can buy them separately. So it depends what you are looking for. So on this roof, I'm going to put some snow down on the edges, the little bits here, just not on the top of the chimney. So if you actually stay in the lines, you can see. It doesn't want to write on here. Come on, pen. There we go. Come in a bit on the top of this windowsill to take the window frame. I said it wrong again. It's a bit faint, isn't it? But you can put as much on as you wish, really. I don't want like as much as there is down here. Realistically, these dots are so small. It's a bigger nib. Realistically, they wouldn't have. They might melt a bit on the roofs because we've got windows in the roofs, so there might be heating in there. That's what you could think anyway. I'm thinking these edges of the roofs might be overhanging and therefore gathering in a bit more snow, and the tops. It's just an idea. You can do it however you wish. It does take quite a long time. Tapping away with your pen, getting dots. Some pens have a bigger nib. The Posca is probably a little bit bigger for this, a little bit better maybe. I was expecting this to give me bigger blobs than it's giving me. Sometimes lots of little ones are better, you know, but it just takes more time. Tap, tap, tap. But I'm making an ASMR video. Tap, tap, tap. be a bit on top of this turret. Let's do. Is that strange noise outside again? It sounds a bit like a heavy plane going over, but not quite. You can just tap away and do as much or as little as you like, or none, you know, don't have to do any at all. If you haven't got a white pen, I'm afraid you'll be stuck. You could use a white pencil. If you've got like a Prismacolor or a luminance white or a Chinese white from the dough one, you might be able to get it to work, but I'm going to leave it there. Let's come out of it. Now background wise, as I said, I'm not going to do anything, but what you could do is some cloud, use a cloud stencil for a background, but I just don't want to. I just like the way it pops up off the white, and I'm going to leave it. So there we are. So thank you very much for watching. I hope that you have a really super rest of your day, and happy colouring.